Happy Festivus, everybody out there. For those who celebrate, welcome to CHGO Bulls pregame. Coming up, we will preview the Bulls and the Atlanta Hawks. Bulls going for 4 games in a row. Hawks going for 4 losses in a row. We'll see who comes out with that. It's myself, it's Wilco Gottlieb, and Joey C is going to hit you right now. CHGO Bulls pregame is in full effect. Thank you all for joining us. And guess what? We are brought to you by Michelob Ultra and Bet365. The delicious taste of victory deserves something equally superior. Cheer on your team with Michelob Ultra and download the Bet365 app and use the code CHGO365 when you sign up, because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with Bet365. Hello, how you doing? Greetings and salutations. I am Big Dave.
Bam!
That wonderful gentleman over there is Will the Go Gottlieb. The man on the ones and the twos back there is DJ Joey C. How are you, Joey C?
It's a holiday. Bow.
Holiday. Do you celebrate Festivus, Joey C?
I celebrate anything that's worth celebrating. So, yeah, I'm into it.
Oh, that's a flex. That's a smooth lines right there.
That's going to be my new answer whenever
celebrate
whatever is worth celebrating.
Celebrate. That's how Joey C rolls. Shout out to you, man. We are very happy because we are here with you all, man. Thanks to all y'all in the chat. Make sure you're dropping a like in there and saying what you feel in there as well, because you know we'll read that also. Bulls, Hawks on the way, coming up. Bulls going for 4 wins in a row, going for back-to-back wins in Atlanta, where they absolutely enjoy playing basketball. The numbers back that up. We'll get into that, and we'll also be getting into the young Matas Buzelis, ladies and gentlemen, because it feels like he's kind of on the uptick, rising just a little bit. But before we get into that, let's run down the injury report real quick, ladies and gentlemen. For the Atlanta Hawks, Dyson Daniels will be out with a right hip inflammation. Of course, Kristaps Porzingis still out dealing with his illness. And Mo Gay was questionable. He has been downgraded to out with a right shoulder sprain. So they lose some rim protection and some defense. But who needs that? The Bulls and Atlanta Hawks ain't about that life, ladies and gentlemen. It's about scoring, and scoring only. 2K basketball is about to be on our screen. Let's talk about that last game they just had. Will the Go Gottlieb.
You mean the second highest scoring affair in Chicago Bulls history?
Oh, the highest scoring,
the
highest scoring affair of the season in the NBA as well, sir. Actually, of the past 2 seasons in the NBA was that high scoring affair, 152 to 150. That was absolutely nuts. Let me run you down some numbers, man, from that real quick.
No,
sir.
I love numbers.
Highest scoring game, as I said, the last 2 seasons, 302 points. Most points scored by a team this season. That's the Chicago Bulls with 152. The second most points scored in the first half this season was the Chicago Bulls with 83. I believe Orlando and Miami are tied for first with 86. The Bulls season high in assists, they have 41. Bulls season high in field goal percentage, 57.6%. And a Bulls season high in 3-point percentage, that was 47.6%. Also, go real quick, 2 of the Bulls' top 5 scoring games, including their highest scoring game in Bulls history all time, are against the Atlanta Hawks. Both of those games in Atlanta. If y'all remember the 168-point game for overtime, shout out to you.
I'll never forget that one.
Oh, GOAT, man. What were you thinking watching that game happen, man, and just the explosion of points that was going on?
I was thinking about the 3 weeks prior to that, during which time the Bulls simply could not make a shot, and they were a bottom 10, if not bottom 5 offense.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be a team that was good at offense.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about how, and we talked about this the other day with the 3-point shooting when I did plus minus, and I said regression to the mean is coming. It all came out in this game. And I don't know that they will score quite this much. Neither of these teams are very good defenses. And so that obviously puts you in a position where you can make some shots. But I mean, that was some of the highest shot making that I've seen, not only in terms of outcomes, but just the ball was going in. And you look at like the numbers for the Hawks too. By the way, it scored 150 points.
Yes.
23 of 47 on threes, 49%. The Bulls, 48% on threes, 20 of 42. The thing that really stood out to me, though, was the fouls. The Bulls getting to the line 39 times. I can look this up if you want, but I have to imagine that's up there in terms of their highest total at the free throw line in terms of attempts all season. So the ball was moving. They were playing the way that they want to. They were playing the way that they need to. And I think the depth has really helped them just stay that active and play with that kind of energy throughout. And then on top of that, I mean, like the Hawks, they have some good individual defensive players. Obviously, Dyson Daniels is very good. Risa Shea is pretty good. Jalen Johnson is pretty good. Okongwu, pretty solid. No Porzingis down there to protect the rim. And so getting downhill and creating those kind of shots really helped the Bulls. But they just took advantage. And then, you know, the Hawks, I was just looking at some of their recent four factors numbers and just their performance over the last couple of weeks. They are 30th over the last 2 weeks in defense. And a lot of that probably has to do with last night, or the other night, I should say, 128.7 defensive rating. Meanwhile, the Bulls, number 1 in offense over that same period, 124.9 offensive rating. So in the same way that I did not think that the poor shooting will stick, I also probably don't think this electric, 152 points in a single game type of shooting is going to stick. Where it ends up in the middle, who knows? But these two teams, the way they play, it's just like gasoline and a fire. It leads to big flames.
Yeah. And I don't think we'll see another 150 point game, but I'm still expecting a high scoring game just by the history of these teams and the way they play against each other. Like I mentioned, the 168 points that was scored by the Bulls. That was a 4 overtime game, for goodness sakes. It's always close. It's always a ton of scoring. Defense is very, very optional out there on the floor, but it's hard to critique that when everything is working so well for you on the offensive end. And in a game like that, because those games happen in the NBA, obviously, but in a game like that, your job is just to make the final stop the team from scoring so you can walk away with the victory. And that's what happened with the Bulls. They made the final stop at the end of the game. Trae Young trying to bait a foul, and went up for a shot, didn't go in. That's a victory. That's a win for you. So I think that is going to be high scoring again. Again, I don't expect 150 points. Would I be shocked? No, I would not be shocked if they did it again, because with the guys you just talked about who play their defense for them are out. Kristaps Porzingis is out. Dyson Daniels, is out. So I expect the Bulls to not change anything, just continue to attack this squad and, just try to run them off the floor again.
And that's, again, the recipe. That's the way that they have known all along that they needed to play. And then just for whatever reason during that stretch, they just weren't able to get there. I think a lot of it had to do with the depth. We've talked about this. If you're building a team prioritizing depth over high-level talent, and then the depth goes away, you don't have depth or high-level talent, it's going to be very difficult to win games. On top of that, they weren't really generating the right shots. They weren't playing with thrust. They weren't getting up the court and getting into their sets early, and that slows them down, and that's where you can really see the low margin for error that they have that Billy Donovan talks about all the time. And so now they're playing more to that identity, more to that level, and you're seeing the explosion of points. Can they keep that up? I don't know. I doubt it to that extreme. But as long as you're generating the right shots, whether the ball goes in or not, you have to be willing to live with it. And I think more often than not, they'll be able to score. The problem is just, can you get to that level consistently? Can you play to that style consistently? And I think that's the area where we've seen them fluctuate. When they're open, when they get good shots, they tend to make them. And there's going to be off shooting nights, as there are for everybody. But for me, it's all about, can they play to that style consistently? And that is just what we have not yet seen.
Yeah. 2 more things just for you, Will the Go Guy Lead. The Bulls had 9 players in double figures, which isn't crazy. We've seen them do that. But this is per ESPN. It was only the 8th game in NBA history that both teams scored at least 150 points in a game that ended in regulation, and the 3rd time it has happened in the past 35 years. Crazy output for both of those teams. If you love offense and you love that stuff, this will be the game for you.
I don't think it'll be tonight.
I think they'll do it.
At some point, a team is going to score 200 points in a game.
Oh, that's what you mean.
And it's going to be a Bulls and Hawks game.
Okay. Oh, man, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Bulls getting healthy. We're going to talk about Modest Buzelis rising and more fun on the way. Hit the like button. Hello, Julia. You, my fine person, can be good. You can. But you can be great. It's even better. It's a better thing. But if you want to be like Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, you want to be ultra ice. And ice cold Michelob Ultra is how you can do it. Because whether it's can or whether it's bottle, once it hits your lips, it's full throttle. Well, Big Dave, what are you getting for Christmas? And what makes it so ultra? What I'm getting for Christmas is nothing but love. Because that's all I desire. And 2.6 carbs, ladies and gentlemen, 95 calories. Thank you very much. It's a superior smooth taste worth playing for and is the official American beer sponsor of your Chicago Bulls. So why don't you do me a favor and do yourself a favor and grab a Michelob Ultra, because that's superior light beer as you cheer on the Chicago Bulls. No matter what you're playing for, make it superior with Michelob Ultra. Be ultra magnetic.
Big Dave.
Yep.
You know what I love?
Tell me.
With the Bet365 early payout offer, you can be a winner if your team goes up by 17 points.
You do love that.
You know what's happening?
Tell
The
me.
Bears are going to the playoffs.
Bears.
You know what's going to happen?
What?
They're probably going to be up 17 points.
Bears.
So place your bet on selected, marked as winners. Download the app. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. You can double your winnings on parlays with Bet365's 100% parlay boost. So breaking news from Bet365.
Oh.
Playoff season is here, and new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Sign up. Use that code CHGO365. Deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and get $200 in bonus bets whether your team wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with Bet365. Must be 21 or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. In-app only, and remember to bet on the Bears and Caleb Williams.
Bears. CHGO Bulls is live with you on the pregame. Hit the like button. Thank y'all for hanging out. What up, Colin? What up, D Law? What's going on with all y'all, man? Thank y'all for rolling along with us. Exciting game is going to be happening at 6:30 right after this pregame. Bulls and the Hawks. We'll see if the Bulls can get 4 in a row. And with that, will the Go Gottlieb let us know who shall be in the starting lineup, please, sir?
Okay, here we go. Bulls, same starting 5. Joshua Giddey, Alex Jacoby White, Nikola Vucevic, Modest Buzelis, Isaac Okoro, standard 5 that we have seen from them when healthy. And for the Atlanta Hawks, who are without Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker stepping into the starting lineup alongside Trae Young in the backcourt, Risa Shea and Jalen Johnson in the front court, and Onyeka Okongwu is the man in the middle. So long, versatile lineup. I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is having a tremendous year.
He is.
He's really stepped into a larger role and thrived offensively. We know what he can do defensively from his time with the Wolves, where he was really, really important to them. Kind of, honestly, pretty surprised they let him go when they could have made some moves to try to retain him. But he's been great for them. He was great filling in for Trae Young, and now we'll get to see them together. But I also wonder just like the Trae Young experience in Atlanta and how much longer that's going to go on, because you know, this skid that they're on has not, you know, it started before Trae even came back, but just the way the Bulls really challenged him and isolated him and picked on him in the fourth quarter, that just happens pretty much every game when there's an easy target like that, because you do have a lot of good options defensively around him, and the Bulls were able to take advantage. So I'm curious to see that. He's obviously got to be really, really good offensively to make up for that, and he was last game. So we'll see what adjustments the Bulls have.
It was also the first game in 3 years that Trae Young scored 30-plus points against the Chicago Bulls.
Do you think that had anything to do with the fact that Iowa was on a minutes limit?
Exactly where I was going, ladies and gentlemen. Exacta mundo where I was going. So also want to talk about this, man. Bulls getting healthy. You mentioned that starting lineup. Wanted to get into this because I found this incredibly interesting, at least for me. Because this is their, for the last 5 games, this starting lineup the Bulls have out there have only played 52 minutes together. So that's Giddey, Kobe, Okoro, Buzelis, and Vooch. That lineup, the pace that lineup is playing at is crazy. They're playing at 108.7 possessions per 48 minutes and scored almost 134 points per 100 possessions.
That's over these last 5 games, or that's the whole season?
Over these last 5 games, sir.
Okay. just to put that in perspective, the Bulls are the number 2 team in pace this year at 103.94. The Heat are just above them at 104.68. Most teams are over 100, but you still have the bottom 8 teams in the league playing at under 100 possessions per 48. And you're telling me they had 108 possessions? That is absurd.
Per 48.
I mean, that is like
nuts.
preseason
Yeah.
numbers. That's crazy.
Absolutely insane. And then when I looked even further into it, and this is what I wanted to get into because this has kind of tripped me out when I saw it. Joey C, you could put this up. And this is from NBA.com that I saw this. This was a really interesting quote. From this last game, the Bulls took 92 shots on Sunday, none of which came between the paint and the three-point line. It was the first time this season that a team had 0 mid-range attempts. That is insane to me, to score 152 points and to have 0 mid-range attempts. Listen, if they're going to put up those numbers, and play that way, then you won't hear me crying about mid-range, all right? But obviously, I don't think that's going to be sustainable as it goes forward. And then even further, just to look at it, here's the other quote. The Bulls have had fewer than 5 in 13 mid-range shots of their 28 games. In total, they've taken 4.8% of their shots from mid-range, which will be the lowest rate for any team in the 30 seasons of the shot location data. Damn. They are not shooting that mid-range shot. It is something that is just contagious with the team. Obviously, it's being told to them not to take those shots and things like that. If it's working, like I said, on the offensive end, like it has been. I mean, you see the pace, you see what they're doing with the possession and things like that. So it's working in that kind of way. But I think, Goat, it's going to come down to a game, a gotta-have-it game when they're playing one of those teams who is just going to take away one of those things that they do well and just force them to do the other. Obviously, take away the paint, force them to shoot threes only, and see if they hit them all day. So it's working for right now. If you're putting up 152, like I said, I have no complaints. But I just don't feel like they're going to continue to put up 152 points.
Correct.
No,
I mean, I wouldn't even suggest that they would. To me, this goes back to the margins conversation that we've had. When you are a less talented team, you have to make up for that in a bunch of different ways. One way to do that is your shot profile of other teams are going to sprinkle in some mid-range shots, and the value of those shots is just mathematically less than the value of a three-point shot or a shot at the rim. And so if you can minimize those mid-range shots and maximize the higher value shots, then you're going to have a better chance to win. I would say this, Billy would say this, and pretty much anybody in the analytics community would say this too, is that you're allowed to take those shots. There's just a time and a place for them. So I think option 1 is going to be get downhill and get to the rim. Option 2 is going to be, if you can't get there, spray it out to 3. If you can't get there, swing it to the wing or to the top of the key and try to attack again. And if you get to a point later in the shot clock where you can't create anything, that's your mid-range time. And I think during the regular season especially, that's kind of the way that they should be operating. I agree that mid-range shots do have a place in this league, and I think, in fact, they're going to come back. But the reason that a lot of teams are starting to take more of them is because, one, you have elite players who are elite at it.
Facts.
And I don't think anybody on the Bulls is at that point right now where they warrant those kind of shots. And then, two, teams are giving you that shot. That's why the teams that are taking it is because that's the only thing available to them. Like we talked about the defense, even though the defensive production wasn't very good in this game, you watch these guys and they're working on that end. They're closing out. They're moving all over the floor. There's so much more ground to cover. The way that offenses are spreading you out, there's so much more ground to cover. You're having to get back in transition more. You're having to go baseline to baseline and not just top of the key to top of the key. You're having to switch 1 through 5. You're having to slide over and protect the rim and then X back out and defend the perimeter. There's so much more movement. I think that's why you're seeing more calf and Achilles injuries. I think that's why you're seeing more soft tissue injuries. And I think it's also why these teams are just so gassed. I mean, we saw it in the last game where the Bulls were just tired at the end, even though they're playing so fast because they're moving so much more within the half court or within the transition game. So I don't think there's any problem with trying to minimize those. And Billy would even say he's never going to tell a guy you are not allowed to shoot that. It's just that there's a time and a place. And, Billy would cater an entire offense around that when you have somebody as good as DeMar, and then he's changing it because he doesn't have there. So with Modest, I think he'll get to a point in his career where he can warrant that kind of a shot a little bit more. But right now, he's not there. I mean, he just like isn't very good at shot creation right now, quite frankly. And so he's got to improve on that. And the Bulls may get to a point where they rely on him for that. And when that becomes the case, he absolutely needs to do that. But they're not relying on him for offense, just the same way they're not like relying on Patrick Williams. And so when Patrick Williams takes those shots, that's what Billy Donovan gets frustrated about. And so I think you just have to be selective. You can't just make that a part of your offense. It's like a last resort.
Yeah, I don't obviously don't disagree with anything you just said, but I don't mind minimizing it. I do have a problem when you're setting records because you're not doing it at all. That's where my issue comes in with. Like, if you like want to take away from guys, and you're right, they don't have anybody that's elite at it that can really do it. But you have guys that have some part of their game has something to do with the mid-range. Giddey has a little bit to do with the mid-range. Of course, Vooch and his floater. And I'm not saying he's stopping Vooch from, taking these shots or doing these shots or anything like that. But obviously, the numbers are reflecting that guys just aren't doing it. And there's a reason they're not doing it. They're obviously being told that it's not a great shot and they shouldn't be shooting them. And obviously, it's going to come a time where they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to take that because that's just basketball. Like, the game is going to get down to a point where it's close and you're just going to have to take those kind of shots. But again, I don't have a problem with minimizing or putting the focus on getting to the rim and putting the focus on three-point shooting. I have no problem with that. I just have a problem with completely taking it off the board and setting records that they have never seen before because nobody's done it this way.
Just one more thing, just reacting to this comment from Deanna, I think.
Hey, Deanna.
Hello. So I think you're right to say that they are better percentage shots, but I think this is something that people confuse when we talk about like efficiency. Is efficiency to me is not the percentage on which you shoot that shot, right? So let's say DeMar DeRozan is like an elite mid-range shooter. He's making 50% of those shots, right? That's obviously a higher percentage than Modest Buzelis shooting 35% on threes, or even DeMar shooting 35% on threes. But when you think about like the efficiency, it's the value on those shots. So that would be the amount of points that shot is worth times the percentage that you're shooting. So in the case of DeMar, if he's getting 50% on a 2-point shot, that's 1 point per shot. And if he's shooting 35% on a 3-point shot, that's, what is that? 0.35 times 3 is like 1.15 points per shot. So you're getting, it's basically the equivalent of 100 offensive rating compared to a 115 offensive rating. And that's a huge difference. Yeah, and that's enough to make up for a talent gap when other teams are doing that. So I agree with you, Dave. Like, you can't like coach that out of guys completely. I do think there's a time and a place, but especially with a team that's under-talented, you have to be willing to change your shot profile. This is like the Daryl Morey special from a couple of years ago where it was just all threes and rim.
Yeah.
And we should also specify that the mid-range shots are shots outside the paint to the free throw line.
Correct.
Not, paint twos, they call them.
Right.
So like the Giddey floater, I think, is a shot that like they're trying to minimize. They're trying to reduce that, even though it's a paint two. So there's levels to it even within all of that. But I just think you have to be willing to sacrifice some things if you are going to be under-talented. And I think the shot profile is one of those things that guys are going to have to make sacrifices.
Let's take our last break right here, Joey. Soon we come back, I want to show you guys some Modest Buzelis numbers about what he's doing. And this awesome gentleman over here has got some bets just for you. Hit that like button, y'all, after this.
Ray! New vehicles are in stores at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal for the year-end sales event. Head to Ray CDGR on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. And right now, you can get $0 down, 0 payments until March on all new CDJR models. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000 with a friendly team of brand experts. The team at Ray CDJR is here to help during every step of your car shopping journey. Plus, since they prioritize affordability, you won't overpay for the vehicle you need. And with Ray's Price Promise, you can shop confidently with no add-ons, no hidden fees, ever. The price you see is the price you pay. Go check out our partner today to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and find the new right vehicle for you, and then drive home happy. The team at Ray CDJR is the only one we recommend. Don't miss out on their year-end sales event for huge savings. For more information, visit Ray CDJR on Route 12 in Fox Lake, or online at racetgr.com.
You know what showed up at my doorstep? That new Aura frames, baby. Right. I looked at it. I opened the box. I said, wow, this looks pretty amazing. And then I read about what it does, and I said, this might be a gift for someone in my life, whether family or outside. You might be getting an Aura frame from me, or might keep it for myself. Put some photos in there because it is awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Unlimited free photos and video. You can just download the Aura app, connect the Wi-Fi, put all those videos in there, man. You can preload the photos before it even ships. You can keep adding photos from anywhere at any time. It's amazing. So do not wait, because for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using the promo code CHGO at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code CHGO. Terms and conditions apply. Back hanging out with us. We appreciate y'all, man. CHGO Bulls pregame. Will the Go Gottlieb, Joey C. I am Big Dave. Hit that like button since you're here and watching and got your eyeballs on it. Just go ahead and click that like button.
Just one little click.
That's it. It's not going to hurt you.
Maybe the subscriber button, too, because we're like 100 subscribers away from 100,000.
Yeah, we are
There's
right
there.
This is big. This is big.
This
for
is
us.
huge.
We've been waiting for this plaque.
Me and Goat have really been waiting on this plaque.
The Bears are carrying us, but we've been waiting.
Well, we want to carry the plaque.
Of our education
and yes, all of it.
Many parts of our lives.
Many parts, ladies and gentlemen.
Many years of Bulls pregame shows.
Let's look at some numbers, guys, from the awesome Modest Boo Zealous. I wanted to get into you. Just looking at the 5-game stretch from Modest, just the change there's been. So there you see those first 3 games that he just played. The 25 minutes, the 9 points, the 2 rebounds, a block, 55% from the field, which is always awesome, but the 14% from 3. Like, he just wasn't shooting great. But these last couple games, it feels like a switch has kind of turned just a little bit. And this is also the season where I'm looking for flashes, from a guy like Modest, and consistent flashes from Modest Zealous. So seeing him doing what he's doing right there in those last 2 games, those 26 points, 73% from the field, which is amazing, 56% from 3, which is really, really crazy. Like, he is, and also the 2 blocks, which I love. It feels like he's finding a nice rhythm right now.
Absolutely. And, I think the way we talked about the offense in general is like it's probably not going to sustain to that level. Mm-hmm. Obviously, what was it, 70-something% from the
73.
Field is not going to sustain for Modest either. And that's why we always say, like, you can't judge him based on the makes and the misses. But what you like to see there is the additional block per game.
Correct.
The additional aggression that he has been showing. So that's the stuff where that needs to come out of him on a more consistent basis. And whether or not he's making 7 out of 8 threes or whatever it was, he's still giving you that sort of impact. So that's, to me, what growth looks like for Modest, is the consistency there. The rebounding needs to be better. But, yeah, you want to see him make shots, and that's exactly what he did against that Hawks defense.
Like Colin saying, give me those stats. Damn, get some Modest. Also, just because I'm a little petty about it, I was looking at the minutes, and I was like, oh, Modest minutes have increased. What has changed over these past 2 games with that? Well, in those past 5-game stretch, when I looked at Patrick Williams' minutes, in those first 3 games, he was averaging 20. In these last 2, 7. Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the double big lineups as well.
Well, sure. But for my funness and pettiness,
for sure,
I'm going to say it has to do with that.
Be petty, my friend.
Just a tad, just a scope.
It's the holiday season after all.
It's Festivus. It's the airing of grievances. Where's the metal pole?
Heck's not here to be petty. You may as well pick it up.
Just, it's the chair. It's seeping through. You know what I'm saying? And getting to me a little bit, man.
That's what it is.
I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to bring it back down. Oh, Goat, you've got some bets you want to give to the people out there who might want to make a little piece of change for the holiday season.
I sure do. Joey, are we ready to do this?
Ready to give him some bets.
We're ready.
Bet365.
We got our pregame picks from Bet365. Never ordinary. Bet365. You know what? I'm going to start with the total points because 253 is a lot less than 302, which was the last game's total. Like we've been talking about, they're not going to score 150 apiece, but I do think that the defense that is being played between these 2 teams is not much. And so I feel pretty good about that. It was 251 in their previous matchup. I feel like they can get to 253 again. We don't know which Bulls team is going to show up though. I mean, they were the 30th ranked offense or something in that bottom 5 area. I'm forgetting the exact number. for a stretch there. But I feel like they're kind of hitting their stride right now. They're in rhythm. And that's leading me to my next two picks, which are Trey Jones, 5 assists at plus 125. That's pretty surprising. He's had 5 assists in all 5 of his last games that he has played since returning from injury.
Correct.
He had a 6 assist game in there. He had an 11 assist game in there. And again, we talked about it. He just feels like such an important cog in the Bulls machine, and they need him out there. And when he's out there, he's making plays. So he's generating assists. He's getting downhill and spraying it out. And that, again, leads me to my next one, which is Kobe White with 3 3-pointers made. He hit 3 in his last game, but he's been on a cold stretch prior to that. Prior to that, he was shooting 21.2% over his previous 6 games from 3. And we know Kobe, we've watched him long enough to know that he is a 37, 38, 39% three-point shooter, and that average is going to come back up. And when it dips down like that, that's when you start to bet against it. Yeah. So for me, I think whether it's 3-pointers made or 3-point percentage, I think that is coming way back up, especially with Trae Young out there. I think they're going to be able to isolate against him and pick on that matchup a little bit, and that's going to put him in a position to succeed. So I feel pretty good about all 3 of those. But Trey Jones, 5 assists at plus money is pretty surprising considering he's done that in the last 5 games.
Make sure you get your bets in, guys, and get your money right, because that's where go Gottlieb over there with Bet365 pregame picks. Before we go real quick, Joey C., let's talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Show me some little Jalen Johnson, if you don't mind, sir. I want to look at this young man and what he's been doing. You see those stats from that young fella. 23 points, 10 rebounds with 8 assists on 52, 39, 82 split. So basically having a 50, 40, 80 season right now for this young man. You rave about this player right here, man. He's been great.
Yeah, because he's also an elite defender and an elite playmaker. He can do it on the ball. He can do it off the ball. He can play within the flow. He's just the future is very bright for him. And with that kind of athleticism too, just really, really good player. And just the way that he was able to physically impose his will on the Bulls, getting downhill, getting to the rim. I feel like he's the kind of potential number 1 player of the Hawks future, but if not, like at least number 2 next to Trae Young right now. He is having a breakout year and looks fantastic.
Yeah, man. Hawks, even at 15-15, have lost 3 straight and 7 of their last 9. So they are definitely trying to get a victory tonight. And the Bulls definitely trying to get that victory as well. I'll let you guess which team that we over here rooting for, baby. It's the Bulls. Thank y'all for hanging out. Post-game show will come to you right after that Bulls game. We'll have a jam-packed show just like we had on this one. Hit the like button on your way out or still hang out and wait for the post-game. You can do that too. That man on the 1s and 2s is Joey C. That is Will to Go Gottlieb. I'm Big Dave. We'll see y'all for the post-game, y'all. Enjoy the game. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.